warm welcome to Brand Equity with me, Sonali Krishna. Today, we're going to be talking to a company that's fared rather well in these very tough and trying times. Several sectors, have actually benefited from COVID-19 because of drastic shifts in consumer behavior. One such company is the hyperlocal logistics company, Dunzo. Today, I'm happy to be joined by the co-founder and the CEO, Kabeer Biswas, who's going to be taking us through the past few months and, of course, the blueprint for the future. Thank you so much, Kabeer. Truly a pleasure having you on Brand Equity.
Thank you so much for having us.
So, how has it been for you as a young founder, CEO, grappling through these tough times? I don't want to use the word unprecedented because it is. I think now there is precedence for 5 months, so I think that word should be canned. How has it been for you? I believe business is good. Looking to get better. However, you seem to have a lot of competition coming your way.
So I think for the last 18 months time, Sonali, we have just been very doubly focused on doing two things. One is to make sure that people are able to go ahead and buy stuff from their neighborhoods. And the things that they're buying are largely daily essentials. And we have just gone plugging at that one use case over the last 18 months time, and actually have gotten quite okay with it, which means that today people buy close to about 15,000 odd unique SKUs every week on Dunzo, and on an average, the items get delivered in about 25-26 minutes, right? I think that's a space that has always existed in India because our neighborhoods are very fully functional. These Kirana stores or these small what you call neighborhood stores that have existed are the soul of the neighborhoods that function in India, and they make them self-dependent, independent. What we are trying to do is just try and make sure that they are coming online and ensuring that you don't have to go to them and those items can come get delivered to you. It's that straightforward. I think what we just got over the last 15 to 18 months was that we just got really good at it. Right. What COVID did was just actually accelerated that, where it ended up doing three things specifically. One, I think our organic traffic from consumers just went through the roof because people couldn't step out of their house, just like you and me, and needed to actually get deliveries done at home. Second, most of the items that they were looking for were daily essentials and goods, which is exactly what these neighborhood stores were providing. And that's what the platform was being used for, right? And thirdly, before this period, we were doubly focused on trying to make sure that users, when they started transacting with us for one category, were transacting with us across multiple categories. That just now ended up happening organically. Because once you got one thing from a particular store, you were like, great, now because I can do this, can I also get meat from the same app? Can I also get medicines from the same app? Can I also go ahead and get what you call flowers from the same app? And so those are the three things that have really been positively, useful over the last 3 or 4 months. That has resulted in, fair amounts of growth.
Right. So, a couple of rejoinders there. You said about 15,000 SKUs broadly. Is this during the COVID period or this was pre-COVID?
So pre-COVID, it used to be in the range of about 10, 11,000. It's gone up to about 15,000.
Oh, it has gone up. And the mix of products that are, that has seen a change or remain constant would be what?
So it's largely been in the same one. So we classify a very large category of goods called consumables. Right. Basically, it's anything that you can consume within the next 24 to 48 hours time as soon as it gets delivered. Think of it as a combination of grocery and staples, meat, fresh fruits and vegetables, medicines, and pet supplies and stuff like that. But basically anything that your house is running out of constantly.
What's been the change in attitude not post-COVID, in the COVID era by the local neighborhood Kiranas? How many more have you added in your entire distribution network?
So as behavior, I think everybody is a lot more open to actually adopting tech. And so we have been able to push through a lot more tech in terms of wanting to make sure that their store performance is better, their inventory rates are much higher, they're able to get products that are there in the store, shipping a lot faster, all of those things. So all the platform, stores that are on the platform are performing a lot better for the users who are finally ordering. right? Because now they don't have in-store traffic, so they think about all the online traffic as their own consumers, and they're catering them to a lot better. During the lockdown, though, actually the count of stores hasn't gone up dramatically, and there is a reason for that. One is not all stores are allowed to be open, right? And secondly, the supply chains of cities are still recovering, which means all of these stores are not producing their own stuff. They're actually just buying from distributors or from wholesalers, right? And that supply chain actually is still recovering. And so not all stores are really back up. So the count of stores might be up by about 10 or 15% at best. How much more business we are doing with those stores has gone up dramatically. Because if you were staying open as a store, our business with you over a quarter would have gone up by about 75 to 80%. But the count of stores might have gone up by only 10 or 15%.
Right. Coming to, the spurt of competition you're seeing and will see going forward, given that we've seen, announcements from Flipkart, we have, Amazon's platform anyway, functional, Genie, and more in the pipeline. You've yourself said in the past that, this is a function of what you're most comfortable with. So if I'm a Dunzo, user, my proclivity towards actually using Dunzo versus, let's say, a Gophers or anything else would be higher. How do you ensure that you get more users to be comfortable with you? Because it is actually a change of habit. It's like cigarettes.
So we play in an extremely top-up segment of category, which means if I would have told you about 15,000 SKUs, that means every geography, which is a 3.5 kilometer radius in an urban city in India, is most likely about 1,000-1,200 SKUs at best, right? So this is largely the top set of items that you keep running out of, right? And those are the things that you're making neighborhood store runs for. We're replacing those store runs, right? Saying, you must have at some point of time experienced this, niche se jaake leke aao.
Yeah.
Right? So wo niche se jaake leke aao shouldn't happen anymore, right? Because that niche se jaake leke aao can get delivered to you, right? Now that's the segment that you're really trying to tap into. So that is a segment that I don't think anybody really is shooting at right now. Second, that segment is the one that requires instant delivery. You can't actually go ahead and say that, I will get you something from your close by store and get it to you in 2 hours time. It doesn't make sense, because that guy, if you were to call up that person, he will deliver within 30-40 minutes time, right? So those are the two big aspects to this. Now, in terms of competition, we are not competing for your monthly basket, right? So when you actually go to like a really large format store, right? Think of a hypermarket that you go to, and you go ahead and stock up your monthly groceries and then bring them maybe once a month, at best 1.5 times a month. That's what you end up using the large grocery place for, who end up delivering big basket sizes of 2,500, or, they deliver next day and stuff like that. They also require two very big things. They need to have a massive sourcing division, right? They need to be able to build big warehouses, and they need to be able to build the whole supply chain, right? To be able to deliver this to you literally next day in trucks and stuff like that. Ours is significantly lighter, right? We are trying to just go ahead and make sure that these stores already have the items that you want, right? Why do we need to go ahead and recreate the entire supply chain? Especially as an internet business, we are extremely light in terms of our assets. Actually, functionally, we own only our computers. We don't own anything else, right? And what we are doing is we're basically connecting the store, the delivery partner, and the user together to be able to run this transaction a lot faster. And what it does is, for a top set of SKUs in your life, we can get them to you in 25 minutes time. Right now, the question really is, if for largely the same price point, and think about a 20 rupee delivery charge at best, can we actually move 2 of your runs that you are making downstairs to actually happen through delivery? And that's really what plays out on the platform. If a user is active in a particular week, they end up transacting with us about 2.5 times a week, right? Because they need to be able to go get these runs done very quickly, right? Now comes the question of, how big do we need to be able to chase as a market for us to be able to become profitable, and then go from there, right? India, if you were to look at really valuable consumers and where they reside, right? So I think the total number of credit cards is close to about 45-50 million. But in terms of active, I think it's about 25-30. And if you were to really do another geography cut, because we can at best play in 20 cities which have the density for you to be able to offer 30-minute deliveries. So, once you start going further down, so I come from the outskirts of Bombay, you can't offer 30-minute deliveries there because there's no density, but you can offer them in Parel. Right.
But you're not here, by the way.
Coming soon is what I know, right? And so you're looking for a geography cut of the top 30 million consumers. You're looking at chasing about 25 million consumers who are really valuable in this country, really care about the fact that I can get you your top requirements within 25 minutes time and are willing to pay 20 rupees per order. Right. That's it. And that's a segment that we are doubly focused on. We go ahead and keep building for it. We think competition exists, but nobody actually does it as well as we do. It's the fact that you understand that on online, you will actually have formats play out the same way they played out in offline, right? So the same way that you really had hypermarkets existing and Kirana stores existing, both in what you call unison and both in harmony. The same way we believe that on what you call online, you will actually have formats play out, especially for the top 25, 30 million consumers who are very valuable in this country. They will go chase verticalized experiences. They're not going to go to this one platform to try and do everything, because they will care about saying, okay, where can I get the best option of being able to solve this problem? Okay. And all these products and apps end up creating a space in your head. Thinking for this problem, I need to go here. And that's really what you call muscle memory on some of these problems. Right. So we actually see that on our data. Today, at our peak, we have had close to about 1 million transacting users, right, on a monthly basis. So, Sonali, if we can get to about 5 million transacting users on a monthly basis, we'll be profitable as a company. With given the geo expansion that we are planning, like in Bombay, we're in 20% of the city. Imagine if you were to get to 100%, what that number will look like. Right. So less worried about competition, more worried about making sure that our consumers come back to us every week. Because that's the way that you win internet businesses. You don't win them because you can subsidize them all the time. You win them by making sure that consumers make a choice and make you the choice every week.
But would I be right to assume, and pardon my ignorance, that this is a low margin game, right? So your only way to really expand and get in your revenues would be via reach and getting, servicing that large pool of that target which you set, which is 25 million consumers.
Sure. So you can't drive 100% penetration into any market, right?
Yeah.
Right. So you can try 20-25%, which is why I said we need about 5 million to 6 million transacting users to get profitable. From a low margin business perspective, what does that mean, right? On a low margin business, what it means is after all your costs, you have little money left, right? You need to be able to multiply that with the number of transactions that you're running to be able to pay for your costs below that. That's really what a low margin transaction means, right? Now, all of it comes down to what your fixed costs are, right? So the fixed costs have to always be in unison to what your size of business is going to look like. Now, that's the choice that you need to make, that you will run a very lean organization for you to be able to actually go ahead and become profitable and be able to chase a really, really big market.
While we've all, been very, very dependent on online players such as yourselves and many others, whether it's for big basket or small ticket items.
Of course.
The fact is, we've also seen a lot of established, Kirana walas or grocery stores who are not operational, let's say during the peak of the lockdown, but now have opened up, also starting delivery service to large societies, right? And these are, for instance, Cheddar stores in Bombay, super famous, and many others of that ilk, who have now started via WhatsApp business, started doing this regularly, and people are, placing orders almost every minute of the day, and they're also coming into the place, so they're also technically your competition. The other trend one has seen, not only just my own behavior, but a lot of other people's behavior, is that when I was to go to work and it was my normal life and came back, I really wouldn't bother about my stocking, But I now, given that I'm working from home and I've been stuck at home for the last 4.5, 5 months and counting, I'm in the habit of stocking up. So even before things get over, I'm stocking up. Doesn't that have an impact on your business? Because you said that you're the person to go to if you need something immediately. You're not the person to go to for large ticket, monthly supplies, so to speak.
Super. So let me go ahead and talk about what the independent storefronts are doing, right? Where retailers are opening up their own storefront. So, Sonali, I think you have to understand that our initial reason why people come to Dunzo is because they can get instant delivery, right? That's the number one reason why they come to us. What we did with that actually somewhere around last year was we figured that as a So for all our 15,000 odd merchants on the platform, right? Our relationship with them was a little more transactional, where we were only going out and getting demand to them, right? And so every time every time an order came, they kept it packed. We used to pick it up and we used to drop it. That was really as simple as the transaction would look like. What we have started doing since mid last year is we actually took that delivery infrastructure and made it accessible for merchants to actually go ahead and use just the delivery infrastructure without actually getting demand from Dunzo. Which means if you're getting demand on WhatsApp, if you're getting demand on phone calls, if you're getting demand on any other this, you can use the same Dunzo dashboard and say, okay, this order hasn't come through me, but I still want a delivery partner to pick up and drop this order, right? So from our perspective, what it does is we still make the value for the delivery. We might not make a part of the commission, right? But we look at it as saying, we need to go ahead and run two things. One, be a partner to the merchant, because that's the most important way that we can go ahead and keep building our business. And second, we think of ourselves as plumbing on logistics, right? So if the order gets generated by us, sure, we'll go ahead and get rewarded because we were able to get the user, make sure that they transacted, all of those things. But if the order doesn't get generated by us also, we are very cool with it, because what it means is we are still able to go ahead and provide logistics as a service to our merchants, and they are able to utilize the delivery layer. And so the plumbing tends to work on every transaction that's possible.
Okay, let's talk about the unfortunate incident, which was the large data breach in late July. Now that you've had some time to understand what that breach was and digest it, what would you say, now in the postmortem as to what happened, and how are you ensuring it won't happen again?
So I think we put out our details in terms of what had happened and what are the changes that we are making. It was unfortunate that it happened. There was no reason that we should have that should have happened at all. It wasn't something that happened directly on our platform. We use a lot of tools to be able to just go ahead and measure how our servers are performing, how our engineers, how can we go ahead and build more and more productivity tools on our platforms, right? One of those tools had a breach, right? And because they had access to our system, the people who got access to their the other folks who had a breach were able to get access to our system. That I think is really what ended up happening. What we are now doing is we have actually beefed up the team instantly for us to be able to make sure that our architecture and our infrastructure is a lot more aware of these kind of problems. As just somebody who started a business, to be able to make sure that we were able to deliver to our consumers every time they asked for something. This wasn't a good place to be. It was an extremely unfortunate one, and we are just really sorry that it happened. I know we're just at this point of time spending all the time and dollars that are possible to actually make sure this never happens again.
Appreciate your honesty regarding the subject. You've partnered with Google Pay and I'm assuming other wallets as well. What is your sense in the whole wallet game? Do you think there will be a consolidation to say maybe two players or so? Because we have more and more players who are in the pipeline going to come with wallets. Already decent number of wallets in the system. What's your sense of actually number of people using wallets between 2 or 3 maximum? Do you see a consolidation there?
So this is, I think, what tends to happen on transaction platforms, right? So on transaction platforms, once you have enough amount of GMV going through our platform, right, it becomes cost efficient to have your own gateway, so that you don't have to pay somebody else, right? So an Amazon Pay comes from that perspective, where they're like, I want to be able to make payments seamless on my platform, and then I can extend it everywhere else, right? The standardized payment plays are really Google, PhonePe, and whoever else comes up, right? From our perspective, we work very closely with Google because they're an investor, right? And I think also from a surface perspective, Google Pay is the largest in the country in terms of transactions. And this is the hierarchy of surfaces, right? First, you get a mobile phone, then you start searching on it, then you start having communication on it, then you start paying people, then you start buying stuff, right? So Google Pay is there in terms of searching as well as on buying, right, or transacting. So it's a massive top of the funnel. What we are doing is, because they have a really big top of the funnel, how can we go ahead and light up experiences that are very Dunzo centric? they're already working with a lot of brands, right? So they have Book My Show live, they have Make My Trip live. But from a local perspective, how can we just make sure that, Google Pay, which is trying to go ahead and make sure that a lot of transactions can happen on the platform, we can also go ahead and support a particular what you call use case. I'm actually, that's really my comment on Google's perspective, because their strategy is something that they understand best. What we are doing with them is really what this is. We're trying to make sure that the Dunzo experience is available inside of Google Pay.
Okay. Now, in terms of your revenue model, right now you have one revenue model, right? Like one path of revenue, correct? Going forward, are you looking at, let's say, partnering with brands to ensure that they are top of mind on the Dunzo app for purchase, and hence that becomes a different revenue stream?
So actually, that's the part of the business that's been very exciting over the last 6 months' time, because as volume on the platform has grown, what tends to happen is that, and because it's a very intent-based platform, right? People are coming to buy stuff. But it's an organic platform where I think brands want to come and figure out as to how they can generate demand for themselves. So we've been able to work with brands to do multiple things. One of them is to be able to launch new products, right? Second, launch new variants. Right. So literally, when you come to the store page on Dunzo, we can actually launch a new variant for you, saying, hey, this is a new variant. The other thing that we can do is you can actually go ahead and get the item for free, because a lot of big brands do a lot of sampling. But physical sampling is fairly broken. It doesn't have enough data coming back and forth from you. Digital sampling allows you to get insane amounts of data regarding who's consuming your product, and also goes ahead and what you call promote the product to them the next time they come to the platform. Right. So that's the second thing that we're doing. The third thing that we're doing is we are in multiple geographies. We understand our search data a lot better than even the brand does or the store does. Right. So we know that, say in apparel or in any other geography, people are searching for this specific brand and it's actually not available, or they don't have distribution. So what we do is we go work with the brand, go figure out saying, hey, in this particular geography, we already have enough demand for you. Can we help you get distribution into one of the stores that we already have live over there? Right. And we do this handshake. Because of that, one of the brands recently that we were working with was able to increase their revenue by 50% in 2 months.
Oh, wow.
In a particular geography. So they went from something that looked like about 10 lakh rupees to 15 lakh rupees in a particular month. Right. And that was just because they just did not have enough distribution. And we were able to create that distribution for them within that geography itself. So brands now are becoming a very important part of our play, right? And so we are actually now working very closely with pretty much the biggest brands in this country and putting out literally a team at this point of time for them to be able to get access to what would be the most user-centric ways for them to actually try and get demand for themselves.
Thanks so much, Kabeer, for this Candid speak and the insights. All the very best, and hopefully, you'll be a lot more penetrated in the next few months, and a lot more of us can use your service.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us.